Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a bit of an older match, but one I'm proud of nonetheless, and I'm playing as Finland against, I believe, my opponent. Let's just see here for a second. He is playing, it's a Rover CP, these are Pumas, that's a Stalwart. So I think he's either playing Commonwealth or certainly something with Great Britain, probably Commonwealth. We're getting on the way, moving out, and I'm right away trying to secure Feder, have a forward presence toward Dmitry, and also secure and pressure through Anna. Now, one thing that I've noticed working with Finland is that your infantry is very, very nice. So KTs, XA-180s, and of course all of that nice Finnish motorized mobility, really letting you get in place pretty quickly. I am also a fan of musties, and also I am just going to say right now, I'm probably going to butcher most of the Finnish names for these things, but I'm a big fan of, oh, those are spike teams. No, I thought those were going to be Kartanyekari or something like that, but I try my best. I think I say Yekari probably okay, but I have no idea. I'm not from Finland. All due respect to people who are. So I am also a big fan of using the CC recon teams. They are 20-point shock recon teams with the Dragunov SVD, a decent if short range anti-tank weapon, and a devastating, although admittedly also short range SMG. So I finally see my opponent here, and we have Puma HC1 and a Lynx AH1 moving up. And I think to myself, okay, he's trying to probably scoot around Feder. It's particularly difficult to get a handle on that if your opponent on this side of the field in Elena locks it down. What I've seen many times is spike teams and isolated tanks in that forward section of woods can basically zone out someone from approaching at all. ITO 90 makes good contact, but the Lynx AH1 is not killed, and I have to have my ITO 86 moving through the forest. I also am a little bit concerned we'll drop off some paratroopers here, so I do call in XA-180. These are carrying CC as well, hopefully being able to take out a single team of paratroopers with the support from the vehicle there. But I think it's really more of a scout, and that sort of hits me when he doesn't stop to drop off troops, but rather is moving over, probably hunting for CVs. We do have some light opposition in the woods here and some vehicles moving up on the sides, and I am lacking proper scouting, so I saw them move, but I didn't see what they were doing, and unfortunately he did have eyes on my CV before I was able to get him out of the way. So, as I said, this is older. I am still, at this point, very much learning the game, learning how to beat even the AI at this game, which is a sad statement, but nonetheless. And this is, in fact, a Chieftain Mark 10, 65-point tank. Not too shabby, and certainly more than a match for my XA-180 KTs. However, I've gotten a couple vehicles forward, and I see, okay, we have spike teams here, maybe not spikes, but we have ATGM teams in those woods, and we have a decent firing concave that is making center into a bristly pile of not fun. Hayer GR1 bomber is coming in, and this confirms what I thought before, which is that he probably did see my command vehicle spot, but unfortunately for him, his bombing run is a bit of a swing and a partial hit, miss, I'm not really entirely sure. So we are safe. More his mistake than anything good on my part, and I'm just keeping an eye on these chieftains while we're moving up through the woods. Iroquois Yakari are, of course, excellent elite recon with an Alkalos, wonderful anti-tank weapon, and Iglas for anti-air. Very capable. I often use them as a forward element, and here I was wishing I had something to take out that chieftain, but Finnish motorized really does not have the best options for anything to counter that, because Matty tanks are not great. Fusiliers coming in, and they are running into Yekari. In isolation, a triple group of Fusiliers 90 will win that fight. Of course, Yekari 90 are matching their regular training, and my men are outnumbered 2-3. You can go ahead and see that attrition right now taking place, but I have backup from XA-180s, and that's going to stun my opponents at least a little bit. Turned it into a bit, well, oof, we lost them both, so jeez. Now the Fusiliers 90 are going to shoot through me. At this point, I am thinking to myself, okay, well, that at least tells me who I'm fighting. I guess technically the helicopters did as well, but that's really hit me. Okay, I'm playing against Commonwealth. That means good stopping power, good staying power, but occasionally a bit of trouble with mobility, and that sort of matches the game so far. Now, one thing I will criticize my opponent for is that securing a forward position is crucial. At this point in time, I'm still learning how to do it myself, But Iroquois Yakri, moving back through the forest here, were able to finally countercap, and I have a feeling we're gonna find a CV sooner rather than later. XA-180s taking out transports on that side, nothing really too exciting, and the KTs are the ones to really put the firepower in on those vehicles. My Yakri are dying. No, in terms of a value trade here, that is decent value for him. I mean, he's lost half the men but no units, so a good resupply would heal those Fusiliers up, while I have lost 20 points worth of infantry and 20 points worth of transports. Not really what I was hoping for. My Iroquois Yakri are completely unopposed, and that will definitely come into play later. My CC, I've also managed to scoot up into position here in the woods, and I can see his Milan teams and Saxons. So, what do I call out? Oh, I guess not quite yet. I thought I already did. Probably not. I'm probably securing Anna, expecting an infantry push coming through these woods, which could be very devastating, particularly with the strength of Commonwealth infantry. But my opponent, making a bit of an odd move, is trying to secure Dmitri. I think really without having enough of a presence in it. I mean, yeah, I don't have the best recon up here, but I do have a T-55M Pion PSV tank moving up. This is a good tank in its own right, but it's also very good optics, pretty good ground recon, especially for the point cost there. I mean, some of the vehicles that you'll see, 50 points with exceptional optics is available to a couple nations. Not everyone, but it's certainly rather prevalent, and yes, there it is. So, Telekr, I think, 84s, these are mortar teams, not the most devastating, but certainly able to get the job done. Another Lynx H7 empty helicopter scout, just looking for what is in this area, will be taken down. But those mortars are meant to hassle those Milan teams, because I need them gone if I'm going to push through center. And I know that's a bit of a far and away pipe dream at the moment, but no, it's a thought, I guess. My Iroquois Yakri, having not found the enemy CV, are moving up and around and hoping to cut off his reinforcement line. So something you'll see, oof, Lynx H7 Tote 2 coming in, but something you'll see a lot of the time is, because this reinforcement route is, oof, yeah, okay. A lot of things going on, so I'm just going to pause to explain myself real quick. One of the common reinforcement routes for players on the blue side of the field here is to call in their infantry to roughly this spot here and move forward. The reason is, if you just call in reinforcements here, your men will take the road, and taking the road can get them shot and killed, particularly if I have control of this town, which of course I have completely neglected. Now, what we just saw over here was a bunch of units, triple stacks, which I'm beginning to get the sense that my opponent does enjoy. And we do also spot Stormer HVMs here. Now these, 75 points a pop, very good anti-air, but a little bit exposed. And he should have noticed that they were seen. I am also able to get a couple cheeky kills on Milan teams with the CC's Dragonovs. One of the reasons that I do like the sniper teams that you can get, although, I mean, now the CC was exposed when firing, so not exactly without risk. And that's part of why I like the 10-man teams better than I do the 2-man teams, just having a little bit of able to take a shot without completely dying. It is nice. This CC, by the way, was split from the ones I had in the towns, and by now I'm getting the sense, okay, he's not really pressuring me here, so I may as well move up into that space. We have the spike teams moving up. They're going to try to get a cheeky kill on those Stormer HVMs. Yakri moving up, because I may as well try to clear out those woods if I can. And this is just turning into a bit of a desperate defense situation. I have Yakri, CC, KTs, and I'm just hoping that I can kind of hold on long enough. The Lynx H7 is nearly dead, and we'll see if the KT can do it. I think I did manually target, and down it goes. That's an expensive loss, and now we're seeing the combined firepower of two, well, I mean a Yakri 90, CC teams, and XA-180s on the Fusiliers. Finally, one of them does go down, and my opponent is also pushing in this spot. You see the Harrier GR1 does take out one of my scout groups, but not before I saw the location of his command infantry, and I am going after them with mortars. We don't get them, but we certainly try. And my own Hawk 51 bombers coming in. Beautiful. 1 and 2, and those Fusiliers go down. The Chieftain, now taking direct frontal fire from the CC's anti-tank weapon, won't be long for this world either. But Harrier GR1 coming in, more bombers. I think he does have eyes on my Jaeger 90, which I'm okay with, because I'd rather lose the Jaeger 90 than I would the Spike team. And yeah, they are gone. Now, not having forward anti-air at this point is pretty unforgivable. They should have been in. These days I would probably do it a little bit better, but no dice. And there is an SAS team that's moved up, but they're just providing target practice for my CC, who have 44 more rounds in that wonderful, wonderful Dragunov. My Spike teams get a little bit in an awkward situation here because I had them just right-click instead of attack move, and 3 stalwarts are moving up. I think they're empty, but they do actually get fired on. Primary weapons on a Spike team is never something you want to be doing. Fortunately for me, I don't think he seems to notice, at least not before 1 and 2 dead stormers. Oh, can we see? I guess that's all we can see. Still, very satisfying. Harrier GR1, and now I'm getting the sense that's going to be a bit of a problem. We do tag him with the Iroquois Jaeger, but my other scout team is dead, and this side of the field is looking a little bit scant. Now we have rounded out the center a bit. We have a Pion, we have a Maddie, we have a Spike vehicle as well. Those Harriers will need to get shut down. Fortunately, Finland has wonderful air superiority fighters. I did also lose my second CC team to the Chieftain, which is just putzing along with a single point of health left. At this point I'm moving up the Jaeger that I should have moved up prior. Harrier GR1 coming in yet again, and yet another accurate bombing run. Pretty good. I mean, honestly, very skilled. However, there goes the Chieftain, and now we're starting to really accumulate some value. So we've killed one of the 2 Milan teams, we've really run through those SAS, although not able to kill them. But our Telakers, I do my best, have managed to kill another Milan team. Jaeger fighting Fusiliers in the open ground. Of course, ours are not really in the forest either, and I spot SAS moving up. Spotting and identifying is often really, really important, but this, I wonder if some of you guys have kind of forgotten where those guys got off to, are the Iroquois Jaeger team that moved through these woods, moved all the way around the back, and are now going to be spotting for me from these woods. So, we also have eyes on the HQ section, which is moving up, and for some reason just kind of standing in the middle there. I'm not really clear on why that is. I am moving up to counter cap, as my opponent has been getting pretty good value. My own bomber's coming out now, and I should have gone after the SAS, but I went after the Fusiliers. Wonderful arc on those bombers does keep them from getting in too much trouble. Harrier GR1 coming out to answer, but there's the kill from the mortar team, so I mean 100 some points there for 60 points worth of mortars, and Harrier GR1's coming in. Oof. Apologize about the truck noise there. Traffic is an all-day thing. The MiG-9 113 is coming in, almost gets the kill, and I didn't manage to quite do it because he did miss with one of his 2 missiles. Now, my Iroquois Jaeger, I think we did unfortunately miss that. I might rewind. Well, there is no rewind on this player because of course not. My Iroquois Jaeger have actually cleared out that home zone in Boris. We've countercapped Dmitri, we have Fedor, we've... Oh, no, we just spooked him. He just moved. Yes, so he spotted my Iroquois Jaeger and moved, and here comes the base defense. But I think it's going to be, oof, quad stack of Fusiliers. That's quite a lot. We are doing okay in Anna, still haven't managed to quite kill his own CV there, and these Fusiliers, I know they're going to be coming after me soon, if not accompanied by a Harrier GR1, which is why we can't sit still. But I've turned off... Oh, yep, there it goes right there. I've turned off the weapons on these Iroquois Jaeger, and we're going to be attempting to move through the woods here without being seen. Sometimes the AI is a little bit dumpty. I wanted it to go right down the center, and it didn't, so I said, okay, well, that's not working. Let's spread into single groups where I can really make sure that they stay in the woods. We also have more Iroquois Jaeger moving up on that side as well. I do spot a Lad Javelin. We spot the Fusiliers. They spot us. Javelin team is down, that's some value, and I just say, okay, let's keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. We take down a helicopter, so these guys are getting some pretty decent points out of it, and I think to myself, okay, well, if he sees one of the groups but not the other, maybe that will be enough to serve as a good distraction. I also have eyes on another Milan team, so we could potentially target them as well. Another Harrier GR1 coming in overhead, and that should draw Igla fire, but... a little bit too late. Oh wait, maybe? No, he got out. My opponent has decided against turning that jet around, but you know, we're taking a passive +1. As you guys can see, the game isn't all that much longer than this. Oh, Harrier GR1 comes around again. There's the Eagle Fire. Unfortunately, a bit of a miss. Eagles are not the most higher performing missiles, and there goes one of the Eurokuri team's very accurate bombing run. Once again for my opponent, and the dead men floating on the ground, as is their wont, I suppose. But I spot the fob, I spot an Avis stalwart, we got some good distraction going, and pulled my opponent's attention away from his front line, allowing us to really sort of consolidate back here, right? So we have T-55 Maddies moving up, we have a good scouting position from the Eurokuri that are going up and around the side again, because yes, I am that annoying sometimes. And we're even really taking out some of his other units here. I think these are empty, and yep, there's the other bombing run. Unfortunate for us that we couldn't keep them around longer, but you know, it's never something that you should get too used to anyway. And I see a vehicle here, I see a vehicle there. I realize this one is technically not in the zone, it also does look like a tank, so that's not a command vehicle, it's not what I was hoping to kill. Hawk 51 coming in, and at this point I think I have a decent idea on where that CV is going to be, because I did clear out that western side earlier. So here comes the Hawk bombing run, just hoping to get a little bit lucky, and swinging a miss, unfortunately. Harrier GR1 team coming in, and if I'd been a little bit later, I would have hit those stalwarts. But that is an HQ section that is moving as my scout helicopter comes in, of course scared off by the Fusiliers. Infantry with standard rifles are more than enough to take down a helicopter that braves too close, particularly one with only 4 health, or strength I suppose, like the Alouette. MiG comes out to answer, and it's the second time that those missiles have been unsatisfactory. I was on a bit of a bad run in terms of rolling good hits, and my Yekuri are dead once again. Now we're looking a little bit thin, right? So I have Raskizin Kurima here, I have Yekuri 90 there, I have Kerkekes, but that's sort of it, right? And I've kind of forgotten about these guys for quite a while, which, you know, again, rookie mistakes, beginner mistakes. We all have to learn the game before we can play it, or at least that's the theory. So at this point I have brought up howitzers, and those guys are going to attempt to punish, I think they already have actually, killed another Milan team back in this corner. And we're starting to really load up on favorable trades. As much as I have lost isolated infantry, they're relatively cheap, 20 points a pop, and of course we do get some kills here, I think. Yeah, there's the explosions. At least took down the stalwarts. Here your GR7 being used to take out... Oof. Huh. Manually called in that bombing position. We do finally get lucky with the MiG, and down goes one of those expensive planes. We also have eyes on a rover CP in the backfield here, and I don't think he spotted the Eurokuri, so this is something that you should definitely always try to do. It was actually featured in one of the other games I did recently, playing as the Dutch. Special forces in interesting places that they're not expected to be can be absolutely devastating. It's a particular favorite of mine. Mortar fire coming in does spook the rover, but not enough to kill it. I'm trying to stun it long enough, I believe. Oh, actually, we just get the kill there. Yeah. That might have been the howitzer fire coming in. I was originally trying to stun it. Yep, that's the PSHs. I tried to stun it with the Teleker, and then get the kill with the PSH. So, now we're taking out a +2. My opponent is sort of getting close to his wit's end. SAS, of course, do... oh, jeez, I even sent in a Hawk. Forgot about that. This was some months ago, at least. So, SAS do take a cheeky shot at my Hawk, but miss, and my Eurokuri are still unspotted. My opponent probably wondering how I knew to target that spot, but it is a pretty common choice, so sometimes you'll see that targeted blind. It can certainly happen if you're playing against really artillery-happy opponents. Chieftain Mark 10 taking a shot from the Pion, and that has got his attention. So if you saw the tank hesitated, that's because it was probably being repositioned by my opponent, but not soon enough. So he turns to face, and kaboom. Dead tank, pile of dead vehicles here. This is why I said a lot of people reinforce the other side of this town, because it stops this problem of you just get shot. Which, you know, getting shot's not a nice way to win. Hawk 51 is now coming in and clearing out these woods because I have no desire to fight in them. And an Avia 28 coming in as well. Let's just switch to neutral. Fusiliers. Decent shot, but nothing crazy. Of course, that will reset the kill count, but I wasn't really going to go through that anyway. We do spot the backup rover CP. It's close by the original target. It's not always a bad choice, too, because people will say, oh, well, you know, I already shelled over there, maybe I should shell somewhere else. So he probably thinks I'm seeing it blind. Now, this is a mistake, and it's a mistake in particular because this rover CP is in the woods and it's a solid bar. He should be able to tell that I have intel. And I guess he does kind of figure that out because here comes the scout, Gazelle, taken down by the Iroquois, part of why I love him. So that was 40 points right there, in addition to spotting CPs, and here comes more PSH fire. So those howitzers proving their worth several times over. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. Hello, little Jeep. Having a nice time, chilling in the woods. Oof. And swing and a miss, but there it is. Second CV down, a couple hundred points now, and we do kill some of its infantry moving out of this forest, probably expecting another bomber or two. The Avia is, of course, extraordinarily competent, and now I think we've finally aggravated this guy enough that he is relatively willing to concede. SBS dying to XA-180s and A390, and my Iroquois continuing to be an absolute menace, getting just tagging that Lynx a little bit before those jets circle around and try to land their bombs. So, MiGs coming in, 1, 2, down go the Harriers, and that's going to be game. So, in terms of kills, losses, we can see here I could have afforded to be quite a bit more aggressive than I was. 2,000 points in kills, 550 points in losses is enough of a difference that I should have been really taking advantage of that disparity, but particularly when you're newer to the game, it is a hard thing to judge. So, as I was at the time, these days, you know, if I get a good 400 or so points in kills, or I think I'm about that high up above my opponent, I will try to take ground, because you can kind of afford that attrition-y style of play a little bit better if you're up a little bit in the initial value trading. Even just with the abbreviated kill count, because we did switch back to a neutral. Oh, did it have it all? No, so these are just the kills toward the end. You can see that scout tank did absolutely wonderfully, and my Iroquois pretty much all paid for themselves. So we got Lynxes, we got Stalwarts, I mean, spotting ability as well, but some of these, I mean, the Gazelles, what, 40 points each, I think, in Commonwealth, something around there. So yeah, pretty decent value, and well, that's all we've got for today. Thank you all for hanging around. It's nice to play Red 4 every once in a while. I'll try and do that more often, put that on the channel. So we'll see you again real soon.